One number one.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is the approval. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Agenda has been approved. We now have a presentation from Help CDC. Ms. Oriole. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Oriole. Nice to meet everyone. I represent Help CDC, which is one of those logos right there. We are housed inside the Life Center Church. We are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. We've been there for now 20 years. And we are here because we are going to share some information about a project that we would like to bring to the residents of Edenville. This is Leanne. She's going to give you all the business.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys,
Hi.
thank you for letting us come to speak today. I'm very excited about this, so I'm sorry if I get a little overzealous. My name is Lee. I'm the program manager for Rebuilding Together Central Florida. We are working with Nicole and Help CDC, as well as Leanne and Chris at Bay United to apply for a $1 million grant from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta to renovate or rehab 25 homes in the city of Eatonville. So just, I just want to tell you a little bit about us before I get into the nitty gritty of everything. So, you know, Nicole, from Health CDC, they are HUD approved counseling service that's in Eatonville, so they know the community, they know the people, they know every neighborhood. Sometimes she astounds me with the stuff that she knows. It's amazing. And Bank United, they are dedicated to giving back to the communities that they live in and that they serve in. And it was kind of their idea to get with us. We are a national nonprofit. We're based out of DC. We have a local headquarters in Tampa. And we provide free critical home repairs for low income people and veterans. We also do long-term and immediate disaster relief. So the three of us all got together and we decided to apply for this grant, which is obviously a grant, so it's free money from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta to increase the resiliency of the Eatonville community. So in order to do that, we wanted to come to you guys today for support as far as just supporting us and also to give you information on what we're doing and what the plan is so that if community members come to you guys, you can direct them to us. We also just wanted to get a little bit of clout with you guys so you know who we are. So to apply for this loan, we need 25 homeowners. They need to apply, they need to be approved, they need to have a home assessment done, and they need to have the scope of work done. We include their homes in the application. So as soon as the application is approved, we can go ahead and get started. So the application is due in June. We're hoping to have it ready to go by mid-May. And I think we hear back in October. So as soon as October hits, we get that money, we get the executed contract and we can get right to work on helping homeowners in this community. So just, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the grantor, which is the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta. It says federal in the name, but the money is private. It will not be affected by anything that's going on in the government. I know that some other nonprofits are going through all of that stuff. This money will not be affected by that. So if we get the money, it is, we are using it for this purpose. So, and for those, I'm not sure if everybody knows what a grant is free money, but it has stipulations. So for instance, the homeowners that we qualify, they have to be low income, a part of a percentage of the area median income for Central Florida. Other grants require elderly, things like that. So there are stipulations we need to follow. The Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta, much like Bank United, which is why I think they're members of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta, they contribute 10% of their annual net income per year back to affordable housing. So we like to get that money and put it right back into our communities here in Central Florida. So eligibility, basically, people will apply for our program. I'll have a link to the application later. And we make sure that they are in the town of Eatonville. That's stipulation number one. They have to be 80% of the area median income. Just for perspective, for a one person in a home, that's about $54,000 or less they have to make. If they're on Social Security and that's it, or they have only a pension, they'll probably qualify. We have done actually 2 homes in Eatonville already on another grant, so I'll highlight that later. But it was super easy to get them to qualify. So especially if they're senior citizens and just on Social Security. They also need to have a home that's in need of essential repairs. We're not talking about someone that wants to go from laminate countertops to granite. That's not essential. Talking about roofs, sealing the envelope of the house to make sure no water can get in or wind or critters, 'cause that's the worst for me. Tub to shower conversions, updating air conditioning and HVAC systems, putting in grab bars where they need to stand, putting ramps outside the home so they can get in and out with a wheelchair, widening doorways so they can get in and out of doors with their walkers, things like that. Those are the essential repairs that we're talking about. So the process is kind of, we talk to people, we review their eligibility, they apply, we ask for additional paperwork. For instance, we'll need their IDs. If they have a mortgage, we'll need a mortgage statement. Homeowners insurance does not matter for us, so if they don't have it, that's fine. A lot of people, when they have houses that are passed down from generation to generation, no longer have a mortgage and therefore no longer have homeowners insurance. That's completely fine for this, it doesn't matter. We'll need just proof of income, things of that nature. Then Miss Stella, who is my intake coordinator over there, she will give them a call and just get to know them a little bit, make sure if we have any questions that they get answered. And from then we give it to Mr. Leon. He's our construction coordinator, and he meets with every single homeowner. He does a full assessment, top to bottom of the house. He works with the homeowner to create a list of the most critical issues, and then he ranks them. They work together to rank them. Number one is generally always a roof if they need a roof. Then it might be the tub to shower conversion. If they think there might be mold in the kitchen, we'll look into that and do mold remediation. So we really rank them so that the money that we get from the funding, we'll use it for the most critical issues and work down. Then once he does that, they're put on our wait list, which is right now the list to go into the grant. So we'll include them in the grant. If we get more than 25 homeowners, they will go onto our wait list for our program so that they can still be included as soon as we get other funding. As well as if for some reason we don't get the grant, we don't foresee that happening, but if we don't get the grant, the homeowners will stay on our list so we can still help them. Yeah. All of our work, and I want to make this clear, is done by licensed contractors. It's not us coming in and hammering, so we can hammer our fingers or something. But it's all licensed contractors, they're insured, and the majority of them, other than a few, we've worked with for multiple projects, multiple grants, so we trust them. These people they're not strangers going to somebody's home, they're people that we really know and trust. Next slide, please. So I mentioned that we did 2 homes in Eatonville already. We did Miss Cynthia Bradley and Miss Lois, and they are next door neighbors. Lois got a roof, a tub to shower conversion, and new cabinets. Cynthia got new cabinets, new AC, and a tub to shower conversion as well. There's also mold remediation, and we updated, and Nicole came and helped us with her group, and we painted the outside of the house on a very cold morning. So which was really fun. It was highlighted on the news. So if you want to press play, it should give you the news story. You might just have to enter or space.
May not play
Okay.
because I was not informed.
Oh, sorry. Apologize for that. So we'll just move on. You can Google it if you want. It's Nicole and I talking. So the next step is the homeowner application. So you can scan here to get to the application. It takes about 10 minutes, and then we'll go over it. We'll contact people for the remaining paperwork that we need. And if the QR code, we're going to have it everywhere. You can also stop by the Help CDC office. And Nicole and her intern Natasha and other staff members there can help you. Or we are going to host a walk-in clinic on March 22nd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the town hall. And our staff will be there to help people, because some people don't have internet, some people they're comfortable emailing their paperwork to us, so we'll be able to take it, scan it, make copies right there, give it back to them, and get everything working. We'll also be able to do the initial interviews, and then we can get them to Leon, who's going to go out and meet every homeowner and get the scope of work done. The applications, we're trying to get them all in by April 1st. That gives us time on our end to get those scopes of work, get the home assessments, and then any other things that may pop up. If they're over that, is that a hard deadline? We're like, no, you can't apply for that. We will still accept after that, but we would like the majority of the ones for by that time. And the final slide. It's just our contact information. Health CDC is right down the street. Our office is at East Colonial and I-4. We're right across the street from Boys and Girls Club. You can see you thinking about it. So it's only about 10 minutes from here. So we've come up here a lot. And then Bank United is kind of all over Florida. So but we're easy to get in contact with. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, we will try to get to them as fast as we can.
I do have a question. If you're applying for a grant, but you did 2 houses, so my question is there money currently available for that type of work now, even though you're good for the $1 million?
Right, so we're applying for the $1 million. Those people, they were covered under grant from the county that we got. That grant has all been allocated, but we are continuing to get funding. We were about a $5 million organization income-wise about 2 years ago. We're up to 15 million now. So we're really pushing those grants. We're really trying to get them, and we're really putting them right out into the community.
Okay, so then here's my other question. Even though this is for the money that you're applying for, is it worth it for anyone to go ahead and apply in case there's other money?
If there's other money, yeah.
You'll go ahead.
If for some reason we don't get this, those people will stay in our system and we will do it. If they're on the outskirts and they're not even in the city of Eatonville, please apply because we will get other money and that's what we do. We love to help people. So, anything that's safety related.
Right, thank you. Council.
All right, thank you. Yes, hi, how are you? This is a fantastic program. It really is. It's really neat here. And you're gonna get those 25.
We've already had calls.
We're gonna work on that as a community to get 25.
Yeah.
Okay, great, super. Just have a couple questions. On this program here, is there any deed restrictions? They have to keep the property for so many years when they're, because they're getting funded, is there?
There's no lien on the property, there are no deed restrictions.
There's no deed
It's a
restrictions?
grant, once it's done, it's done.
Okay, all right, that's great. You did cover the insurance, and I know that's usually an issue for a lot of people.
A lot of
Don't
people.
have
I'd
insurance.
say 50% of the people we deal with have no.
So you don't require them to even have it once the repairs are done.
No, but I would recommend it, especially with the roof, that will decrease the payment a lot.
Okay, so the average cost for those 2 homes, what was the average cost?
It was 42,000.
Oh, wonderful, that's great.
Yeah, so we actually had the county funding, and then we also got funding from Bank United and Health CDC, and we merged that funding for the 42,000 for both houses.
Okay, all right, great. And you're working with a great partner.
Yeah, we know.
CDC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they know the community so well, which
Yes,
is
they do.
the important part, yeah.
Okay.
I just want to add that when Leon went to do Cynthia Bradley's home inspection, I went there as well because I wanted to see exactly how it goes down so that if anyone asks, I can say I saw, I witnessed. And he takes the time. He's really great with the seniors, at least what I've seen, because he speaks very patiently. He's very complimentary. And then, they start fixing their hair up and I'll be right back. So he really works well with the homeowners and he's very patient. That process alone, just to go through the house, took us about 2 hours. So it's not a quick, they don't just run in and run out. They sit and they take the time. They don't make the seniors feel like, I gotta move on to the next one. I gotta punch the clock. So I just wanted to put that out there. And the function of our agency is just to make it convenient. If anyone wants to come to the office, they can upload, make copies, use the printer, use the computer. We just want to make it super convenient. If we're able to do it with this group of 25, then we can do it again the next year with another 25 and another 25. And the other point that I want to make is that this is just a great opportunity. If we show Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta and Orange County that there's a need, then it makes sense when we go back and say we want more. So please take advantage and we look forward to working with all of you.
Did you bring any applications with you tonight?
They're all available online and we have that QR code, but I do have a bunch of flyers with the QR code as well as some frequently asked questions.
Okay.
And that's why we made us available, because they're only online. They're too high tech for Eatonville.
I got this.
So we said, let's make it so that people can come to the office.
Fantastic.
Also, I do believe they'll be at the March 22nd Housing Fair.
That is the walk-in clinic that she was referencing.
So they'll-
There's a
Yes.
TRA is doing a housing resource fair for Eatonville on the 22nd. So we will have 4 tents lined up
Mhm.
and we're gonna get people.
Great, super.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And there's also the opportunity, if anybody needs me to come out to the home.
Yeah, talking about.
Mhm.
Also, there is the opportunity that if anybody needs. There's also the opportunity that if anybody needs for us to come out to the home, that's something that I do as well. I do come out to the home and help the homeowners with the application process and also collecting the documents if they can't come to us.
What's your contact number?
My cell phone is 689-298-3276. Yes, ma'am, 689-298-3276. And that's my personal number, so you guys can reach me at any time.
Okay.
And it's gonna be vital
Thank you very
because a lot of our residents are hesitant
Mm-hmm.
to a new face.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
with the services that you're offering, it's like a blessing, but if they don't know you, you won't get in, or they'll just look at you and say, thank you, and close the door in your face, so.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we wanted to come here to you
Yeah.
guys, because we don't want them to go to you guys and be like, we've never heard of this. So, you know, this is a whole comprehensive thing that we're.
The last thing I want to throw in is we want to be fair. So we want to do 6 in each quad and then have 1 bonus house. We don't want any one quad to feel like the other one got more than we did. So we really want to make sure we do 6 in each. So once we hit the 6, then you'll be on the waiting list for your quad. I want to be clear about that.
All right, one thing, there's some things that you don't cover, you would not do on the property.
Yeah, so there's
What are
some,
those?
the biggest one that I can think of is foundation issues. Just because they are inhibitively expensive. So we're an organization where a lot of people compare us to Habitat for Humanity. Habitat builds new housing stock. We use the money that you could use on a whole house and invest it in multiple houses of the current housing stock. So that's kind of what we do, and foundations are inhibitively expensive. They also lead to more problems that we find down the road that increases that cost. But that's and some septic issues.
If a house already had a foundation issue, would you attack it? Would you be a part of that house? Would you work on that house if it had a foundation issue?
We probably would, but we would try to recommend other places to get housing.
Okay. Beautiful.
The 6, the first come, first serve for the 6 in each squad.
First come, first serve, first processed, you know, do the whole process.
So when we process everything, we keep the application date that they did it, as well as the time when they submitted everything. Because those can be 2 very wildly different things.
Thank you. Very nice. All right, we're ready for citizen participation.
Yeah, and just so you know, Attorney Shepherd will be with us by Zoom.
Thank you.
We have Kelvin Franklin.
You mind if
I can get it for you.
Oh, yeah, 3 minutes. Good evening, Mayor. Council. Citizens and guests. My name is Calvin Frank. I my family and I, we reside at 133 Thompson Avenue, Maitland, Florida. And tonight I'm here as one of the ambassadors for your Eatonville Chamber of Commerce Welcome Center. We are thrilled to announce that the Eatonville Chamber of Commerce Welcome Center has launched a new website. The new website address is historiceatonvillechamber.org. www.historiceatonvillechamber.org. Eatonville Chamber, one word, .org. Please take a moment and check out the update. There are volunteer opportunities are available at the Eatonville Chamber and the Community Nook, which is a 501c3. The Community Nook works in partnership and shares space with the Eatonville Chamber Welcome Center. We can provide community service, hours for volunteers. Volunteer opportunities include event help, landscape and gardening, computer skills sets as well. March 12th from 8 to 9:30, the chamber coffee break opens to the community. And we ask RSVP on event right. March 12th, also from 10 to 11:30, directly after, of course. The Nook Shares presents Powering Entrepreneurs. That's the Excel and PowerPoint. March 22nd is the Women Change Makers pop-up event. And again, we ask to RSVP on Eventbrite, or of course contact the chamber. We ask that you be on the lookout for the chamber's monthly going on newsletter. I thank you all for this opportunity that we share with the chamber. Any updates? Thank you again.
Thank you. And we have no others.
We're now ready for a public hearing. First reading of ordinance 2025-2, designation of an official town seal for the town of Eatonville. This is King, would you read the preamble?
Ordinance number 2025-2. Ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, creating chapter 1, section 1 through 15. Official seal of the town of Eatonville in the Code of Ordinances to designate an official town seal. Providing for codification, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
You have heard the preamble. This item is now currently open for public comment. If you'd like to speak. Right, seeing that there is no public comment, we will now have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, the first reading of ordinance 2025-2 has been approved. We're now ready for the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Consent agenda.
We don't really discuss the consent agenda.
I can move one down to council decision.
That was part of the approval of the agenda.
Pardon?
That would have been part of the approval of the agenda.
Okay.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. I would suggest, Councilwoman, if you have a question, send it to Mr. Presley.
Okay.
All right. All right, there are no council decisions for tonight, so we're ready for report. You saw Mr. Presley wasn't feeling well. I think he left. He wasn't feeling well
He is
earlier.
available by Zoom now.
Okay.
Mr. Presley?
Do you have a report? Okay, well, we'll go on to Attorney Shepherd. Good to see you. Do you have any reports for us?
Just briefly, and first of all, I want to just sincerely apologize. I was so buried today when I had a long mediation, and I thought this meeting was covered. So I'm grateful for being able to attend by Zoom, but I will certainly try to make sure that mistake never happened again. In terms of anything new or improved, obviously when it comes to Hungerford, I've heard nothing, and hopefully we'll be hearing something soon, but we're at the end of February, and I just don't know. So perhaps you, Mayor, or somebody else has some information, but I've heard nothing. It's been radio silence, at least on my end. And the other thing that I wanted you to know is I've been doing some research for another city. And it has to do with an item we just went through, and that's the consent agenda, and what things are appropriate for consent agenda and what are not. So once we conclude that research, which I expect to probably be tomorrow, I'm going to provide that to the clerk and to you so you all can discuss it and perhaps come up with a system based on our research that is more aligned with the law as it sits today. Basically by saying as to certain items which are kind of close to the edge of whether a comment needs to be allowed or not, you would say for these items, let's say it's 4 through 7, does the public wish to comment? And if they do, you let them comment before you then move the entire agenda. And if they want to take it off and you want to accommodate the taking it off the list, then you can certainly do that too. But that's the research I'm talking about. It's not a big deal, but it's going to be a change that I wanted to alert you to as to why it's coming. Someone had raised this question in this other city, and our research has been interesting in terms of what the law actually is on the subject.
All right, wait, you have a question to attorney?
Yes, I do. Okay,
Yes,
attorney, I just want to ask this question. Here on the consent agenda, when you look at the consent agenda items, it's 1 through 6. Then up under there, it says council decisions. Items may be moved from consent agenda to council decision.
Right.
When at that time that could have happened, when does that supposed to happen?
Well, it typically happens when you finalize your agenda, which is the first thing you do under number 3, approval of the agenda. You see it up there? And
Yes.
so when you say, I approve the agenda, what you're essentially saying is the layout here, unless it's been modified, people move items, add items, take items off, then this is the way you'd flow through. So that's how it's currently set up. You know, you could avoid the approval of the agenda altogether, but the reason why that's typically there is because it is not uncommon for items to drop off the agenda, or items to be added late, or for items to move from one location to a different location, for example, from the consent agenda to the decisions if there needs to be discussion. So that's the answer to the question. Can you change it? Of course you can.
So at that point, if I wanted a certain number on the consent agenda to be on council decision, then I would have, I'm just role playing this.
Right.
I would have said approval of the agenda to move item number 4 to council's decision.
Correct. That's correct. And what I typically remember, I mean, the mayor can confirm this, but I think I remember hearing, and it's very common. So I may confuse this city with another, but it's pretty common to say, okay, are there any changes to the agenda? Typically addressing that to either the city or town manager or CAO, and any council members. And sometimes council members will say, I have a new item or that I want to put here or put there or whatever, something that's come up that requires maybe immediate attention. And if there are no changes to the agenda, then the agenda is approved as it's been published. And if there are changes, those are done. So for example, maybe item 7.3, which is the consent agenda, item 3 becomes the first item under decisions in the next item of the agenda, if there's a request to take it off. And generally, it really doesn't even take a vote. If a council member, as to the consent agenda, if a council member says, I want to remove number 3 or number 5 or whatever it is from the consent agenda to council decisions, that's all that it would take. And typically you have the body approve. Okay, then with that, the consent agenda will be revised to be 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Number 4 will be moved down to council decision number 1, as an example. That's how it would work.
All right, thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor.
I have a question. You said something you're doing a study on consent agenda for citizen participation to talk about. I think, isn't that automatic?
Yeah, well, let me explain. What we found, there's a statute, it's Florida Statute 286-0114, and it's about public comment. And how it reads is, it's basically to try to tell you what items are you required to have a public comment period. The law generally on Sunshine is that you have to have a comment period before a decision is made. So since a consent agenda is usually, multiple decisions, the question is, if any of the decisions on the consent agenda require public comment. Well, the statute says this, that if the item is an emergency item, that, there can be some harm from not deciding it, then you can do that without public comment if you can show there's going to be appreciable harm. A good example would be appropriation of funding maybe for a trash hauling contract before the arrival of an unexpected storm, something like that. It also says for acts that are purely ministerial in nature, ones in which you don't have a decision to make, you're simply fulfilling a role of the law. So example of that would be in your code enforcement department. If there is someone who has had a lien against their home, or their structure, their building, they've cured the violation, they've paid the fine, but the lien has to be released. There might be an item on the consent agenda that says authorizing the CAO to sign the release of lien, as an example. You don't have a choice, because if they've done everything they're supposed to do, you have to release the lien. So that's a ministerial act. But it also says it can be applied to actions like ceremonial proclamations and approval of minutes. Well, approval of minutes is pretty much ministerial, but ceremonial proclamations, and it also says including but not limited to minutes and ceremonial proclamations. Ceremonial proclamations are always discretionary. You do not have to honor, for example, Public Works Day. You do not have to honor Law Enforcement Week, or whatever the various proclamations that come before you. Maybe you could say, you know what, we don't want to do that. So that has infused some confusion to me in trying to reach the answer, because if you have certain items that can be on there that are discretionary, and the language in the statute is including but not limited to, well, what does that mean? And that's what we've been researching and trying to get to the bottom of. And many of the things that are on consent agendas, not just here, but in all the cities we represent, are a little more substantive, but basically not a big deal. An example that affects Eatonville is one of the things that APOPCA has on its agenda tomorrow. It is an item to surplus some police vehicles to the town of Eatonville. And so I didn't even know if you're aware of that, but I'm guessing the police chief is probably aware of it. So the question is that a ministerial act? Well, no, they don't have to do it. Is it something that would generally you'd see on consent agendas pretty much everywhere? Yeah. What does the statute think about it? And the answer is, I don't know. That's why I'm suggesting that a way to avoid anybody saying, oh, well, my rights were violated, my sunshine rights were violated because I didn't get to comment on it, is to have a statement made before the approval of the consent agenda for the things that are in that sort of gray area of whether a public comment should be allowed, to say, does anyone want to comment on items? And let's say in this case, it's 3 through 7 on the consent agenda. If nobody wants to comment, then they've had the opportunity and you've complied with the law. That's what I'm suggesting.
So my question is, I'm looking at every item we have for consent agenda that a person needs to speak on. That's what you're saying? If they want to speak on that item, they can just instead of doing it at the beginning of the meeting where it's citizen participation, that they can say, well, anything on the agenda you can speak about. That's
Yes.
So now you're saying that before we do a vote, do anybody want to have a comment about giving them another extra period to do this?
Well, it actually depends on how you treat your citizen participation. My recollection for Eatonville has always been that it's been very much wide open. So you can have anybody talking about some upcoming event, to some of the things that we heard in the presentation tonight, to, fill in the blank. So it's been very open. But other cities have different rules. They say citizen participation is limited not only in time, but to topics that are specifically not on the agenda. So speaking in citizen participation under those rules would not cover the consent agenda, because the consent agenda is on the agenda, if you're understanding what I'm saying. So in your case in Eatonville, it may be that the citizen participation period, as long as it allows them to speak to anything, both on the agenda and off the agenda, would be sufficient. However, I want you to think about what happened tonight. We had a citizen participation period with just a few people speaking. We also had a public hearing. So if I speak during the citizen participation period, do I also get to speak in the public hearing? Because again, it's for anybody who wants to speak to the specific item. And that's where things get confusing.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been an issue though. I mean, I don't think that's been an issue.
All right, any other questions? All right, is that it, attorney?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Excuse me.
All right, thank you. Yes.
I have an update from Mr. Presley. He's gonna email his report to.
Okay, all right, thank you. So we're now ready for town council reports. I am going to start with Councilman Daniels since I forgot last, so I don't do that again. We can start with you. Oh, my God.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad everyone came out. Want to say great job on the program for the home repairs. This is awesome. We just got to get our residents involved. God bless my grandmother's soul. If anybody who came to her house and she didn't know him, probably wouldn't get in. Maybe you'll give your report to her, but she wouldn't let you in unless she knew someone. And as a matter of fact, we've had Duke Energy doing work here in the city. And one resident listened to the whole presentation and she said no. But to have the former mayor to give that young lady a call and explain to her what they were doing, she was like, oh, great, let them come in and do the program that they're offering. And on that note, I just want to give kudos to Duke Energy, especially to Josh and Corey. Those two young men are coming in and just doing a fabulous job here in the community. They helped out everyone pretty much on East Street. And they was on a lunch break and they found a new resident. They went right in to help. New light bulbs, the filters for the AC. They even did a weather stripping for doors that have leaks. So I want to give kudos to Duke and especially to Josh and Corey. Don't have much tonight. Just want to give my condolences also to the Bernard Hicks family that lives on Washington Avenue. They just had a death in their family. And also to the Freeman family. I think they lost their sister as well. So my condolences. Thanks everyone for coming out and have a great night.
Thank you. Councilman Mack.
Yes, I'll be very brief. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I appreciate everybody coming out, being engaged in town business, and of course, CDC, help CDC with the Eatonville Home Repair Assistance Program is a great opportunity for the citizens of Eatonville to take advantage of this. 25 people, 6 people in each quad plus 1, which is a bonus. So I would definitely like for people to take advantage of that. And speaking of Duke Energy, the same ones that Council Denny just spoke on. Corey and Josh, they was the one that came to my house and they did a superb job. And what they did is very professional. It was quick, swift, but efficient. And if you guys are watching now, man, great job. You guys came in, you did what you had to do, and you did an excellent job at doing it. And also Waste Pro, since them being our vendor now for our trash pickup, I haven't had any complaints. Normally I get phone calls all throughout the morning on Tuesdays, but I haven't got any phone calls since them being aboard with doing our trash pickup. So I just want to give them kudos for the great service that they're providing for the town of Beatonville. And also my condolences going out to Hicks family as well. Wasn't really aware of the death, but my condolences go out to the entire family. And if all hearts and minds are clear, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Randolph.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Let's have a brief report. Gonna make it very quick. Okay, I want to thank Help CDC for their efforts for what they're doing. Duke Energy did a great job. Also, I do have some concerns about code enforcement issues, which I'll be sending a new update list to Mr. Presley concerning those issues. Also, will be asking to request to have a special meeting for our budget. We're about halfway into the year of our fiscal year, and I think we need to have a budget meeting to talk about our budget and the revenue and the expenditures to make sure that we're within the having a healthy financial count. Also, I am concerned about whether or not do we have enough people using the text.gov system for its reporting, making complaints or maybe seeing things that should be reported. Are we doing a good job of people coming in and sending that information into the town? Because I still occasionally get phone calls from people reporting certain things, and I try to encourage them to use the system. So how's that working out, Mrs. King?
We are getting, communication from the community to the Text My Gov.
Yeah,
We
that's
encourage
good.
more people to sign up for it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we just did an assessment with our, representative, last week. And we even made some updates to some of the keywords so that when people are texting in, they can get right into the, portal. But, Public Works is responding to a lot of them. A lot of them are Public Works concerns.
Right.
So, people are using them.
All right, wonderful. And my last concern is that occasionally when I drive down Kennedy Boulevard, especially down on the west end, I see a lot of trash paper on the side of the roads. And then another day I would see nothing there. One particular, this happened a couple of times, and then the next day I see a bunch of paper. So I don't know if someone is intentionally dumping paper on the side of the road, but Chief, you might want to just kind of observe that occasionally. Because I know one day last week, there was no paper on both sides of the road from Forest City Road up to those apartments. And then it was just a little scattered a little bit along, along the way up to West Kennedy Apartments. And then you go back the next day and you see nothing there. So I don't know what's going on in that area, but I know there's poor lighting in that area. So I don't know if something is going on, that maybe someone may be dumping trash on the road. I'm not too sure.
Maybe a vehicle,
It could be,
commercial vehicle.
yes,
Runs that street every
but it's a lot one day. But other than that, thank you all.
Tony Shepherd,
Yes, ma'am.
turn your dog off, turn your dog off.
Well, I need protection around here because attorneys are not very popular these days.
All right, but anyway, thank you all very much.
I apologize.
It's a wonderful day.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
But on that, echo what Ms. Councilwoman Brenda was talking about trash. I mean, one evening or one else, a bag of trash on the side of the road, and cars was running it over. And I've been saying that lately. Through Maitland, Sandusboro, Lake Destiny. A lot of people, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you go down Wildwood there by the cemetery, it's trash there now. But something's going on with people dropping bags here and there.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes people put them on the top of their car,
Yeah.
saying they're going somewhere and they forget and they go out.
but I like to think about them coming out this evening. I like to think Waste Pro for being a vendor for the town of Edenville. With good things from West Pro. I know we had another vendor, but West Pro came in and stepped in and made our citizens happy about getting their trash to that same week. So I like to thank them for being aboard. I like to thank Miss Monday for all the work she's doing with these grants and her staff, finance department, what they're doing back behind the scenes that we don't get to see. And I like my condolences go out to the Hicks family and the Freeman family. And I did attend Senator Thompson funeral Saturday. It was a big conference with the Florida Black Caucus. I think about 88% of us attended that service to give our respects to her. So yeah, like I said, it was a very big turnout too. So just like I said, we all, I mean, every week, something we happen to pass of citizens, family members, we just got to stay, humble to people, so our legislation could be better or like others. What else I have? Pickleball. I didn't know we paid the pickleball, the tennis court pickleball. I just found out tonight. So I think I'll get Mr. Bryan out there to beat him up a little bit. But I really thank the town for doing that there. And Mr. Bryan been a big supporter of we have the courts here. Now we just have to get the lights on some type of way. That's what we need now. So hope we get that done in the near future. So that's all I have, and thank you for coming.
Can you play kickball during the day? Do one thing now, here's the next thing, thank you. want to say Saturday, just thank everyone, especially the staff, for putting that together, the breakfast Saturday morning. Also, I appreciate everyone that did come out. And please look forward to, there'll be like 4 more meetings. And it's all about information. Not everyone comes to the meetings, not everyone comes to the stakeholder meetings. So we are pushing it out to you. Again, condolence, the pipes in the ground, and I said this before, Ms. Mundy, I just think you're awesome. So I'm very excited about just the move forward for probably the largest grant we've had in the history of the town, and how it could bring economic development to our people in the town. So that's exciting. So looking forward to that. Condolences to all the families mentioned, as well as Gene Hackman and Angie Stone. Those are 2 biggies for me. With that being said, thank everyone for coming out. In regards to something that Attorney Shepherd said about the hunger for property, aside from meeting with a couple of the members and to let them know what's going on in the town, we have not heard from the school board either. So we're waiting and still trying to just talk to as many people as possible. With that being said, is there a motion for adjournment? If the move is second, all in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? All right, it's 8:18. We are now adjourned.